All right, so today we are going to be upgrading the firmware on our Presonus consoles. We've got the 32SC and we have two of the Studio Live 32s. So this is just something that we do just because these are, all these consoles here, these are computers. So you've got to make sure the firmware is updated on them. And the firmware fixes updates, and it may also provide some enhancements on certain things. All right, looks good. And we're just going to go ahead and do the others that we got over here, but I'm not going to do a video of those. You've already seen it before, probably many times here, as well as other videos on YouTube. So, all right, consoles are done. Let's go on to something else here real quick. All right, so what I'm doing is sticking a small little PDU inside the case here, and this is going to provide power to the console, but also to I've got a fan installed in here at the bottom of the console. So what I've been having to do at shows is find a like an external one of these, plug it into it along with the power cable for the console. I've got a 6-foot cord, heavy duty 6-foot cord, and I can just plug that into wherever. Anyway, just consolidating my connections in here. Then also, when I do this, I just need one of these smaller. Instead of that the bigger one that I usually connected in here, it's just going to be this size here. And you know how much I like my Velcro, so I think this is going to be just fine. I really don't need to secure it. I don't want to wreck the integrity of the case by putting screws in it. Pretty much once the stuff is plugged in here, it's probably not going to get unplugged. Unless I've got something, a third item I can plug in here, but plugged in. Okay, I don't know if you can hear the fan winding up. Alright, that looks good. And the fan doesn't have an on or off. It's dependent upon if you got power at the receptacle. So, alright, let's start with that. We'll see what this does. And same setup as on the Allen Heath. We've got a fan. I can replace that large power cord with this one here. That's maybe more appropriate here for the size. Sure, that's going to clear everything. There's be no issues. Move it over a little bit. Alright, sounds good. The fan's winding up. Alright, I think some of you have seen these mics before. We don't use these very often. They only maybe come out twice a year. Here's the bracket for it. and here's the mic itself. These are the AKG, the Perception 220s. These are probably, I think, maybe 12, 15 years old, something like that. I don't know if these were the first generation, but the current ones they have now are all black. But these have done very well, but they are sort of bulky, and they're sort of a problem to use in live sound. Some of the performers have commented that when they try to adjust the mic for their needs, for where their mouth is going to be on it, that they said a couple of times, they said that they feel intimidated by trying to move this kind of a bracket. So what's going on is I am actually replacing these, and I've got 4 of these, and they're all in their own cases. They're metal cases. They've got great shock protection in it, shock protection foam. So these are being replaced with these. It's the Audio-Technica, the AT2035s, and they're probably more of a maybe a lateral move than it could be a slight upgrade, but technical spec wise, it's a slight upgrade, but they're probably more of a lateral move. But they're coming with this type of shock mount on it, which there's a lot of videos covering these. But anyway, these are sort of less obtrusive to the singers. They're singing into a mic, not into a cage kind of thing. And taking the mic out really is that simple to do. Now, I probably would not turn these upside down sometimes, at least not this style. These other mics that are in here, these mics, they actually secure, they screw into these shock mounts, so they can be turned upside down, turn whatever direction you want, they're not going to fall out. The cases have been a hassle to manage just because there's only 4 cases, but each individual one, we thought about getting a larger case to put them all in, but then we're adding more cases just to hold cases, and we didn't want to do that. So all the 4 mics are going to be able to fit into one case. And these cases like this is not a Pelican case, and really for what we do, we don't need anything at that level. These cases, we can get these cases at like Northern Tool or even Harbor Freight, and all we do is just cut out how we want something to work. So all the mics are going to fit inside of here. The mics originally came in these pouches, which, the pouches are fine, but for what we're doing as a provider, we don't want to move stuff around inside of pouches. We need something that's a bit more protective than a pouch. All right, so then all right, then we're all set to go. This is how the mic should be transported. All right, I'm going to do just a real quick test on this. And one of the things I noticed when I was looking at this mic versus this one is that the high-pass filter on this one is 300 hertz. That seems awfully high. And sometimes we've used it, sometimes we haven't. But this one here, the high-pass, is at 80 hertz, which does seem maybe a bit more appropriate. But having used the 300 hertz on this one, obviously it does greatly reduce the proximity effect, but it also affects the lower register of some singers. This mic is done very well, as I said, but it is I don't think it's really ever been the right mic for us to use, but we're moving to this type over here. All right, so what I'm going to be doing is recording the mics. We're using channel 1. Channel 1 is the AKG, and the channel 2 is going to be the Audio-Technica mic. And we're going to need phantom power on these. 1, 2, alright. Alright, we're going to start off with probably around 22 dB. And as you can tell how sensitive that is already. It's on the AKG. Let's switch over to our Audio-Technica. Starting at about 22 dB. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. All right, test 1 2. 1 1 2. Now I am right in between both of the mics, and they're probably maybe 4 inches from my mouth. 1 2. And the Audio-Technica is just slightly more sensitive in the specifications than it is the AKG. Test 1 2. Also, the Audio-Technica shows to be a bit quieter, just its internal noise, than it is on the AKG. Test 1 2. The preamp gain is set the same on both of them. The high-pass filter is off on them. Let's do we'll do our test mics. Let's select our tracks. Do 1, 2, left and right. All right. All right, looks good. All right, let's go to the mics. Test, check, 1 2. Test 1 2. This is both mics. High pass filter is off. My mouth is approximately 4 inches away from each mic. Test 1 2. 1 2 3 4 5. Now my voice is approximately 2 inches away from each mic. Test 1 2. Now my voice is approximately 12 inches away from each mic. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Okay, let's set the high pass filter on. My voice is approximately 4 inches from each of the microphones. The AKG has a 300 Hertz high pass. The Audio-Technica has an 80 Hertz high pass. My mouth is approximately 2 inches from the microphones. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Checking proximity effect. Test 1 2. My voice is now approximately 12 inches away from both mics. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Now my voice is approximately 24 inches or 2 feet from the microphones. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. All right, as you can tell, there's not too much of a difference between the mics. The AT2035 is a little bit more sensitive, and it is just slightly a little bit louder than the AKG mic. But I think the best part about the 2035 is that the low cut filter on it is at 80 Hertz, and it's 300 Hertz on the AKG. With a low cut that high of 300 Hertz, really tends to make the lower registers on, let's say, male vocals or some instruments, that makes them sound too thin, really narrow. All right, well, hope this helps. Thanks for watching.